this channel, we've had plenty of stories about creepy delivery drivers or creepy Uber or Lyft drivers. But for this week's theme, we are going to cover some stories of creepy encounters experienced by delivery drivers. Now, one of those stories is from Reddit, and two of those stories were sent to me by a lovely subscriber named Char. So thank you so much, Char, for sharing your experiences with me and with all of us on the channel. Now, with that being said, and of course, as always, without any further ado, let's get into tonight's stories, shall we? Alrighty, so the first story was originally posted to Reddit by a user called Char K123. Their story is called Crazy Man Orders Pizza to Talk to Ex-Girlfriend. I mean, these creeps are creative, you've got to give it to them. Alright. I had a pretty creepy encounter as a pizza delivery driver today. I don't want to use real names or locations here, so I'll just say that the guy's name was Joseph and the girl's name was Miranda. So, Joseph ordered 2 large pizzas and a 2-litre Pepsi for $55 in cash to be paid upon delivery. Pizza Hut is expensive. He puts an apartment number, but the actual address is for a UPS store. So this confused me, and I call him to get the proper address, and he asks me if I have the UPS store number. And then when I say I need the proper address, he just says, Miranda Travis. Obviously, Travis is not a real last name either. He hangs up after this and later calls back like 3 or 4 times before actually giving us the address to deliver to. When I get there, a lady, who I assume is Miranda, says that she didn't order a pizza. So I called Joseph again, and he says, no, it's my mum's birthday, and I'm surprising her with a pizza. How thoughtful of Joseph, right? Wrong. I asked him, you're surprising your mother on her birthday by making her pay $60 for a pizza? Good point. I mean, I guess thanks, right? He tells me to not worry about it and go back and just give her my phone so he can talk to her. The plot thickens. I asked why he wouldn't just call her, and he says he doesn't want to because it's a surprise. See, that completely goes against all logic, because you just asked the pizza delivery guy to hand your mother the phone so you can speak to her, but somehow you can't phone her yourself because it's a surprise. Logic, right? So I go to Miranda's apartment again with my phone on mute and ask her if there's a Miranda living here, and she says Miranda hasn't lived here for over a year. So I apologize for bothering her again and tell Joseph that Miranda hasn't lived there for a year. He was pretty much begging me to go back and to give her the phone. I mean, that's not sketchy at all, is it? I told him either she doesn't live here anymore or she doesn't want to speak to you. I'm not bothering her again, and I hung up on him. Excellent. I mean, the Redditor responded pretty much perfectly to that. Clearly, there's something shady going on here. Clearly, the math ain't mathing, and the logic, God knows where that is, right? I told the manager and he cancelled the order. I'm pretty sure this was some crazy ex-boyfriend or some kind of stalker who had his number blocked. Should I report this to the police or something? So, in the comments people were saying to actually go to the police about this, that it feels off, and I agree. It feels very much off. The blatant lies about this being a surprise for his mother, but he can't phone himself, but he can talk to his mother on the phone of the pizza delivery guy. I mean, make it make sense. Make it make sense. I also found out in the comments that the Redditor actually did go to the police about it, but the police told the Redditor that they couldn't do anything about it. This is a standard response, right? I mean, in this case, I guess it kind of makes sense, but essentially the police told him that Miranda herself would have to file a complaint before they can start looking into it. So the Redditor can't do it on her behalf, is what they said. But I'm getting a strange vibe of this guy. And you don't even know everything yet, because when I was scrolling down into those comments, I saw that a week later he tried the exact same thing. He tried to do the exact same thing. He was probably hoping to get a different pizza delivery person, somebody who would be more willing to fulfill his request. But the manager knew about this. Presumably all the staff knew about it, so as soon as they saw his order come in, they cancelled it. They were basically like, nope, we are not dealing with you anymore, Joseph. Unbelievable. Can you imagine, like, if this is actually like a stalker, which I think chances are that it is, if this is actually like a stalker / ex-boyfriend situation, can you imagine being so desperate to find out about the whereabouts of your ex-girlfriend or the person you have your eye on, right? That you go through a pizza delivery service to find out. Man, like I said, some of these creeps are incredibly creative, and it is so terrifying and so worrying. grocery delivery service here in the US. We would drive all around the area, sometimes even going an hour out of town just to make a quick buck. Yeah, those kinds of things, you know. It's not a get-rich-quick thing, and it's not a get-rich at all thing. It's a barely-get-by thing, I think. Unfortunately, though, we rarely made deliveries together. See, that's also, there's also a disappointment when you decide to do that with your boyfriend and you always have separate deliveries. I understand the frustration. Now, so unfortunately, we rarely made deliveries together, and most of the time, I found myself ending up in completely unfamiliar places, alone. For everyone whose anxiety is now flaring up, I feel you. One night, after making several deliveries throughout the day, I ended up on the outskirts of downtown in a run-down area with a high-ish crime rate. Lovely, wonderful. It was around dusk and I was making a Food Lion run for a grandmother, picking up things like fruit cups and cereal for her grandkids. As I left the parking lot, I felt an inexplicable feeling of dread come over me. I felt the need to make the delivery as quick as possible so I could get the hell home. Well, that is probably due to the sketchy area that you were in, and I would probably feel exactly the same. I struggled to find a house in the dark since there were no street lights in the neighbourhood. I parked my car as I squinted at numbers posted on mailboxes, not sure if I'd found the right one. I parked on the street next to a sidewalk, and a middle-aged man in his underwear was standing behind a screen door to one of the houses. Lovely. Lovely. Have you no shame, sir? Anyways, I looked at him and he appeared to wave me over. Absolutely not. He kept gesturing at me and I stood frozen, my brain unable to comprehend what was happening. I double-checked the house number and it didn't match the one on the app. I tried to ignore him as best as I could, making the delivery to the house directly next to him. Luckily, it was the right one, and a friendly older woman was a comforting presence I needed to feel a sense of relief. I practically ran to my car afterwards, threw it into gear and left. The man still stood in the doorway and I couldn't even look at his face. All I remember is a shadowy figure in nothing but an undershirt and boxers trying to get me to come into his house. If this were Reddit, this is where I would say to this particular stranger, let's not meet again. Honestly, I can't understand the audacity of this guy. Like, I can't believe it. He is stood there in his underwear, watching this person do a delivery, and he just stays there, and as if that is not creepy enough, he also gestures them over. Like, that is insane levels of creepiness, and it is extremely blatant and extremely audacious, and I am not here for it. I'm not is more of a close call than anything. This time I was making deliveries way out in the countryside where cell service was hard to come by. Oh God. Oh God. I mean, this is already, again, if this is already getting your anxiety up, I'm with you. I struggled to let the app know that I had completed an order, and as I was driving away from the home, I foolishly pulled over to see if I could fix it somehow. My car, which is a black Hyundai sedan and is by no means an all-terrain vehicle, ended up stuck in a muddy ditch on the side of the road. Like, honestly, this is the beginning of a horror movie. This is the beginning of a horror movie. Unbelievable. This is nightmare fuel. Just this alone. I hit the gas pedal. The car wouldn't move. I panicked. I mean, as you should, love. I mean, I would 100% be having a full-blown anxiety attack at this point. So I called my parents, I called roadside service, that's great, but they wouldn't get to me for at least another hour or so. Oh God, no. Oh, an hour on your own there. Oh God. I sat in my car in defeat, locked the doors and hoped to God nothing weird would happen. Then a boy of about 10 or so emerged from a driveway and asked if he could help. He warned me that certain people in the neighbourhood make this a dangerous situation for a young woman. Wait, hold on a minute. Is this how 10-year-olds talk? Because from my experience with 10-year-olds, I mean, this is a direct quote, this is in quotation marks, certain people in the neighbourhood make this a dangerous situation for a young woman. What 10-year-old talks like that? I am already suspicious of this 10-year-old, honestly. And even though I don't identify as a woman, I do look like one. And that was enough to send chills down my spine, yeah. I don't blame you. How on earth would a child know about something like that and phrase it so eloquently? Exactly, the phrasing. I mean, the phrasing is super suspicious. Like, it is, something's off about it. That only made it even eerier. This child was telling me that there were predators nearby. He was a very honest child and tried to help as best as he could, even lending me his phone to make calls. I hope this child didn't have black eyes, that is all I'm saying. Anyways, it restored my faith in the next generation of humans, honestly. Okay, Char, if you trusted this kid, then I trust your judgment. After he retreated back into his home, I waited a little longer. After what he had said, I felt extremely uncomfortable alone in my car. I locked all my doors a second time and hoped for the best. Several cars drove past and asked if I needed help, and I answered that I was waiting on a tow truck. Finally, a tow truck appeared, but it wasn't roadside, but a completely random couple. Okay, a tired woman with bleached hair and a cigarette dangling from her lips, and a man with an "I'm here to save you" bravado, a country Clark Kent. What? How does this happen? I am so this gets crazier and crazier the longer the story goes on. I accepted their offer to pull me out of the ditch, not knowing any better, just wanting to get back onto the road as quickly as possible. They successfully got me out, and I was able to get back on the highway without any hitches. Thank God, right? The more I think about that encounter, the more I think about how it could have gone so horribly wrong, either when I was stranded or when I accepted help of strangers. I see. So these people just randomly stopped, and they just happened to be quite, I don't know, they just happened to have this unsettling vibe about them, but they were just random people who were trying to help. They weren't actually sent by roadside. Okay, I get it now. My mum said something along the lines of guardian angels come in the strangest forms. I'm not sure if I believe in that sort of thing, but I'm almost certain that boy and that couple were sent by angels. Well, that is a beautiful way of looking at it. Although, from the story, if I'm being completely honest, and as you had probably noticed, the description of them, something just feels rather off. But honestly, I am so glad that in both situations, Char stayed safe. And you know, that they made it home safely every time, and that they didn't get into more trouble than what they already went through, because this, honestly, like I said, both of these encounters, nightmare fuel. Char, once again, thank you so much for sharing your personal creepy encounters with the channel. Again, I am so glad that you managed to get out of both of these situations safely, and honestly, I agree with you. They were definitely a close call. Wow. They also told me in their email that them and their boyfriend decided shortly after to stop doing the Instacart delivery driving service, because honestly, even though the boyfriend didn't go through anything as scary as this, they just both thought that it wasn't worth the risk.